attractions. You got the most beautiful city in the whole entire country. The university is absolutely, looks like it's out of a storybook. It's just beautiful. People are incredibly genuine and extremely nice. It's just a place that obviously I'd want my kids to go to school. And it sells itself. You don't have to sell anything about this place. You just got to get them here. You know, the old field of dreams. Yeah. Build it and they will come. It's already built.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Fulky here. I just want to give a shout out to Boogie Bentley, Dauber, and the Indie Kid over at the Talkin VAWLS network on YouTube. Keep doing your thing, guys. Go Vols.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS network. This is Talkin VAWLS Live. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Dauber.
And I am the Indie Kid.
Mix things up. Let's have some fun tonight. Man, I cannot wait to do a live stream. I love live streams. Videos, whatever. They build the channel. It's part of the job. But, man, live streams are where it's at. We get to hang out with our closest friends. And I'm talking about the chat, Dauber. I'm not talking about you.
Oh, man, come on.
He was hanging out. Ball fan 106 is here. He says, what's up, guys? Fallout Zone says, howdy, boys. Fallout Zone's a member of the channel. Drop those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis in the chat. Show them what's up. A lot of people hanging out bright and early. Good, I don't know, 20 minutes before we went live, making predictions, talking about the Vols. I love it when you guys are hanging out before we go live. What is up, David and David? David and David making predictions. Glad you guys are here. Come on in. Welcome. Make sure you do go ahead and, as David says, smash that like button if you're new. If you stumbled in, it's your first live stream. Welcome. We are just three Tennessee athletics fans, I guess. We're fans of all sports. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We don't pretend. There's a lot of people out there on YouTube. There's a lot of people out there that claim to be media. We're not pretending. We're fans, just like you guys. Let's get together. Let's hang out. Let's talk a little ball. Cody Branch throwing money at us bright and early with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Cody. Hope you are feeling well, my friend. He says Tennessee going to beat Bowling Green by 40. Somebody asked a question in the comment section. I'm just going to go off script here. They asked what score was needed in that opener for you to have some confidence, Indie Kid. What do you need to see score wise, or is there a score that would make you feel confident in that first week?
Any point less than 70, and I'm upset. So, no, I don't know, honestly. Spread is 28. Is that right? Close to 30. I
thought it was 33, but it could have.
It could have went up. I can't remember it. Just I would like to see. I like to see him approach 50 in it, and not So some of the scores 45-13, yeah, something like that. I'd be pretty good with that.
I just want to see some consistency. Not grinding out first downs, strolling to pick up 10 yards at a time. The defense is where a lot of my questions lie, because I think offensively this team is going to score points.
What's crazy about that? Let me hit this super chat again. Cody coming back with another $5 super chat. Thank you, Cody. Says, I got to come home from the hospital at 3 p.m. today, guys. Going to be active tonight. Well, glad you got released. I didn't realize it was that bad. I know you had mentioned it last week. Glad to see you got released and you were back home and on the mend and spending your night with us. John Hill for 5. This will just lead into another question here. How long does Milton play against Bowling Green? I guess we're gonna. You guys know it. You know the deal. We're gonna talk quarterbacks.
Is John Hill assuming that Milton is starting?
Nobody's assuming. We all know Milton is starting. I know it. You guys know it. Most of our fans know it. Not all of them. Most of them know it. Most of them realize it. Heupel met with the media yesterday. Didn't name a starter. He meets with the press again next Monday. You guys think he's going to name a starter? You think he's going to let this thing ride all the way out until opening kick?
Let it ride.
Why?
Be Bill Belichick. Don't tell him anything.
Who
cares?
I kind of touched on it. It doesn't really matter. I touched on it in the video I dropped this morning, saying you're not really looking for a competitive advantage against Bowling Green. It doesn't matter. If you're Georgia and you're going to play Clemson, then yeah, I get it. I get it. You want that competitive advantage. But do you think there's something to it? You know, when he was asked about it, he talked about that competitive nature and earning it and all that stuff. Indy Kid, do you think he just wants to keep that competition there to make guys work? And part of me says, if you got to do that to make Joe Milton work, then he's probably not going to work out.
No, I think they're just playing it close to the vest. I think when you'll see it is when the depth chart gets released. Week 1 that says Joe Milton, line 1, like you said, Harrison Bailey, Hendon Hooker, 2A, 2B. That's when it'll be announced. I don't think there'll be any formal Joe Milton starting the opener. It's going to happen when the depth chart releases, in my opinion. I don't see a need to announce it.
Yeah, I mean, they don't announce the starting tackle, do they? They're going to call a special presser for that?
Maybe. I love Heupel's reaction though when they ask him, and I can't remember. It was one of the VolQuest guys. I don't remember which one. It might have been Rob Lewis, and they're just like, you know, we have to ask this. We're going to ask this, and he just laughs, man. I love his personality. I love his confidence. You know, we talk about it all the time that he's got thick skin. He does not care. Have you seen some of the outfits he wears on the practice field? It's like blue and turquoise swimming trunks with an orange polo. Like he's like the old man going to Walmart, doesn't care. He does not care. 0 F's given. Drew Truesdell for 5. Thank you, Drew. We appreciate it. Says first time live, long time listener. Love the channel. Thank you, Drew. We appreciate that super chat, and we love interacting with you guys. Glad you got to make it for the live show. Mark Williams for 5. Thank you, Mark. Says so excited for the kickoff of the season. Thanks for what you guys do. Really enjoy it. We enjoy it too. We enjoy hanging out with you guys. It's good fun. Thanks for the super chat, Mark. John Hill for 5 says if Milton doesn't start, then they are starting Dauber for sure. There's probably more of a chance that Dauber starts than Harrison Bailey. So I'm on record saying it. Let's talk about this though. Assuming Joe Milton starts, and assuming Tennessee takes care of business, Ainge made an interesting point. I guess it was late last week, early this week. I don't remember. It all blends together. Talking about how long do you leave your quarterback in? A lot of people say, if the game's in hand, pull him at halftime. But I thought he made an interesting point saying he wants Joe Milton to play the first half, go into the locker room, make adjustments, sit down with the coaches, kind of see what that looks like for the first time with this coaching staff, right? Make adjustments, come back out, play another series or two, and put those adjustments in play. And then you go Hendon Hooker, Harrison Bailey, whoever. What do you guys think of that thought process?
I mean, that will be something interesting to watch, to see if coming out of the locker room we have a staff that is capable of making adjustments, because that has not been in Knoxville, man, pretty long while. We definitely didn't see it with Pruitt, and that was some of Butch's downfall as well. They play lights out in the early part of the game, and then stick with what they were doing, and the other team would adjust, and then we'd get ran out of the stadium in the second half. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this staff. I can already see a difference in just the amount of coaching and the amount of teaching that is going on in what little we get to see from the practice field.
I'm waiting on Indy Kid.
Just going to make sure he's finished before I jumped in. Yeah, I'm same way with adjustments. We've not seen them in a while. I don't necessarily in the first game want to have to see adjustments to pull away. I'm hoping that game's in check come halftime, and then, we see them come out and just keep the pedal to the metal in the third quarter, and then you can get your other quarterbacks in. But it'll be interesting when it comes time how this staff does adjust. And I know there's been a lot of compliments. I've seen different people who've observed behind us in scrimmages, and they've been really complimentary and saying how well they feel this staff coaches. Now, but with that said, is that not the same thing we get every time there's a coaching change? Oh, this staff does it better than the last. So, I guess you can take that with a grain of salt, but I want to see it too. I want to see how this staff adjusts, and I really have no reason to believe that they won't, because this seems like a really good staff on both sides. Heupel's going to lead the offense. Banks has a nice collection of coaches with him on the defense. I think they'll be fine in that aspect.
Let me go back up and hit this super chat from Trevor. Thank you, Trevor. We appreciate it. For $5, says, I just want opposing fan bases to be afraid of rolling into Knoxville again. I'm old enough to remember it. Yeah, the three of us are too, especially Indy Kid. I think he remembers the 60s, but I can't remember specifically. But that I want to, talking about remembering the good old days, right? We always talk about the era that we grew up in we're spoiled. We're spoiled as fans, but it kind of leads me to this question. I like this question. I posted in the Talkin VAWLS group on Facebook. I think it's fun to let them interact as well. And Matt Helgeson, hope I say that right. Matt Helgeson says, for a lot of people, including myself, this will be our first Vol football game. What are some things we have to do to have a great experience? Dauber, I'll throw it to you first. You're going to a game in Knoxville. First time ever stepping foot inside of Neyland Stadium. What do you have to do?
Oh man, you got to get a smoky dog. If you're going to be down there before the game, hit a tailgate. Find somebody or just crash one. Everybody's pretty hospitable.
Yeah.
Roll up with a case of beer and say, hey, can I hang? And
I would almost say most tailgates, you don't even have to bring anything. If you just roll up and say go Vols, they will give you a plate of food and a cold beer. I guarantee it.
Absolutely.
What about you, Indy Kid? Dauber's going to tailgate. What about you? What do you got to do?
I'm tailgating. There's no doubt I'm tailgating. So, but depending on, are you there to tailgate or are you there to kind of take in the whole experience? Obviously, a lot of people are saying the Vol walk.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to take that in. Now, just a word of advice, if you're going to go for the Vol walk, you better get there very early for it if you're going to be able to see it. I would suggest just walk around campus, just take it in, because it's a cool campus. Dauber was on it for a few years. He can tell a lot about that, but it's a nice campus. I'm not sure what the strip's like. It's been a bit since the strip used to be happening on game days. I'm sure it
changed.
is.
It's completely changed though. They put that median in, and it's weird now.
Oh yeah, well, I haven't been there since that, but
so got somebody Victor Lockwood throwing out Calhoun's. Calhoun's on the river is always a good spot to hang pre-game and post-game.
If you catch it on the right weekend, don't they do like UT baseball does some fall practice? I think getting ready, you may be able to catch it on the right weekend and catch them doing a practice, a scrimmage, or something like that. I don't think it'll be going with the first game, but later on into the season, you can catch that. Vol Navy. Again, if you're there early, I would honestly bring my walking shoes and just take it all in. Just walk around, see the sights, see the campus. Hit a tailgate, get a plate of food and a beer. Go check out the Vol walk. Go check out Calhoun's. I mean, just a ton of stuff. Really.
I tell you, I like getting into the stadium early, watching the band, watching the team warm up. I usually enjoy that too, if I'm good at that point of the day.
For me, if it's your first time there, it's I agree with what you like Indy Kid saying. Bring your walking shoes and take everything in. Like for me now, if I go to a game, I'm going to go tailgate, and then I'm going to make sure that I get in the stadium to see them run through the tee. I never miss them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That will put chills up your spine every single time, no matter who they're playing, no matter who the opponent is. You cannot miss that. But for my first time, definitely take in the Vol walk. Get there early. Go see the Vol walk. Like they said, just take in the campus, man. Just walk around. Go see the Vol Navy, like Indy Kid said. But for me, make sure you do not miss them run through the tee. And your first time, I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills just talking about it. That first time you walk through the tunnel and it opens up to Neyland Stadium, like you never forget that moment. That first time in the stadium, soak it in, man, and enjoy it because it is a special place. I saw somebody in the chat said, make sure you go get a picture with the general. That's something to do. I don't even think I've ever done that at this point because it was added way after I started going to games. But
I would even, there's, like I said, there's Lindsey Nelson. You can go by. There's Thompson Bowling. Yeah, there's just, lots of stuff just take in. But main thing, enjoy it, make a day of it. Get in there. Like you said, the main thing, if at nothing else, you don't want to miss them running through the tee.
Yep.
I always try to get in there 30 to an hour early on it. You got time to get a hot dog, whatever you need to do.
And enjoy the people that you're with. Like, that's just something that nobody I think most people on this channel know the story. The guy that I went to the first game ever, you guys remember Chris, and he's no longer with us. And I will forever have that memory that that's the guy that I took in my first Tennessee game with. Enjoy the people that you're with. Let me get caught up on Super Chats. Stephen VFL Deal becomes a member of the channel. Thank you so much for that. If you guys want to join, there's a button just below the video, right beside subscribe. Just click join. You get access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. When the chat's not insane, I try to highlight your comments as well. And also, we got to do a fan call-in show soon. We do that, and that's only available to members. So if you're a member of the channel, it's as little as 99 cents a month. You can do that. We got 217 people watching live right now. We appreciate you guys being here. Smash that thumbs up. We got 92 thumbs up. Let's get it over 100 people. We're not even at 50% yet. Let's get that thing over 100. Blitz 621 for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Says Phil Neyland. I was talking earlier today that Neyland Stadium is going to be electric. I know it's a Thursday. I know some people can't make it. That atmosphere is going to be nuts. Listening to Alontae Taylor talk today, this team is ready to go. He was talking about forget it. I'm playing the clip. I'm going to play the clip. Where's the clip? I don't have the clip anymore. I'm sorry. He was talking about, he was talking about Vol Nation being back in the stadium. It's been so long. He was talking about the Vol walk and running through the tee. That stadium is going to be electric. Philip Scow for 10. That ain't cheap. Thank you for the super chat. Says we saw LSU win a natty in 07 with a 2 QB system. Could we see a 3 QB system at some point given the amount of eligibility? Nope. I don't think so. Indy Kid shaking his head. No, I don't see it. I think if Joe Milton doesn't finish the season, then we're not looking at a good season.
I just don't think 3 can work.
I don't think 2 works.
Nope.
Very rare that it works.
I think you really want to have somebody separate themselves. And, I don't know if it's Joe Milton. And honestly, we don't know until the first game they trot whoever out.
Dauber.
Well, I'm not.
Dauber.
Listen, is it?
I mean, they not all of them throw different, to be honest. They all really throw the same, except for Joe.
I'm just saying. We were all dead set on 2 going into last year. Senior, all this experience.
Well, that plays into this whole thing with Joe Milton because Harrison Bailey couldn't beat out Jarrett Garantano last season. Why? We all thought it was Jeremy Pruitt.
Well,
but now it sounds like he can't get on the field again with a completely different coaching staff. Something's missing. We say it every week.
Here's the thing. I'm not ready to dub anybody. If I had set out and watched a whole couple practices on the sideline, other than the clips we see, and I've said the clips we see, it's mostly Milton, Hooker, and then occasionally a little bit of Bailey. I'm not a Harrison Bailey apologist. I'm not saying it's got to be him. I'm saying I want to see somebody separate themselves. I want to see somebody take the reins and step up and be the man.
Did you see Heupel's press conference on Monday?
I didn't.
They asked him about the reps, how the reps were going at quarterback. He completely ignored it. Didn't even answer it. because Joe Milton's taking first-team reps. People inside the VFLs have been inside of practice when it's closed to the media and confirmed he's taking first-team reps. Dauber, Joe Milton is the starter. Let's move on. I got to get caught up on Super Chats. John Hill for 5. Thank you, John. We appreciate it. It says odds on the first offensive play is a deep pass, going for it all. I think they're going to run the football and run the football and run the football some more against Bowling Green. First play is going to be a run play. Any kid agree or disagree?
I could see a little play action, not necessarily deep. Maybe a little check down. But I don't see a bomb on the first play. I think I could see VAWLS across the middle. VAWLS across the middle for about 25 on the first play.
I'll take that. I'll be happy. Don't forget, right before that first game, myself and Dauber will be live doing the tailgating with Talkin VAWLS. We'll be hanging out an hour before kickoff. Hope you guys join us for that. Hopkins lacrosse fan. Hop, it's been a minute. Hadn't seen you in a minute. Hope you're doing well. He says, hello, gentlemen. Miss you guys big time. Hope all is well. Is it too early to predict a perfect season? See, that's why I like Hop.
Nope.
He's so optimistic. He's so optimistic all the time. Just so positive. Hey, we're coming up for some lacrosse. I don't even know when lacrosse season is, Hop, but we're coming. We're coming. We're going to come watch a game with you. It's going to be good times. Let's see here. Am I caught up? Nope, I'm not. Elijah Allen for 5. Thank you, Elijah. Says 2019 UAB was my first game after my first deployment. Best night of my life. You never forget your first time inside of Neyland. And on top of that, thank you for your service, Elijah. We appreciate that. Am I caught up? Not yet. John W. Bell IV, a.k.a. father of Trinity Bell, drops a $5 super sticker. Thanks, John. Hope Trinity's rehab is going well. Am I caught up? No, I'm not. Eric Ash Jones for 2 says 8 days. What type of math is it? It's 9 days, right? It's 9 days until kickoff. He's skipping a day. He's so excited that he is skipping a day. Blitz 621 for 5. I do not care who starts at quarterback. I trust Heupel. I think that's a good point, too.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, but you didn't pay me $5. If you do a super chat, I'll defend you, too. Let's see here. Where do you guys want to go? You want me to get another fan question, or you guys got a topic you want to talk about? I'm not to put you on the spot or anything.
Did you catch Banks talking to the media today?
I watched a little bit of it. Very, very vague, but practice is now closed to the media. Heupel was very vague on Monday, and I think Tim Banks was pretty vague today too.
Yeah, I mean, kind of repeating some stuff that we've heard already. Talking about he likes the depth that they seem to be building at linebacker, particularly the fact that he's got guys back healthy compared to the spring. Got some of the transfers in. And it's helping with competition. You know, you got more bodies there. You can run more of a rotation, and it drives guys to be better.
Yeah, when you talk about competition on defense, you know, we've talked about the corner position. And Alontae Taylor met with the media today. I don't know if you guys saw that. I loved everything that kid had to say. And that is a confident bunch. I played the clip in the video. I'm going to play it now. That defensive the secondary is ready to prove some people wrong.
Confidence is super high. A lot of guys, I mean, we see it, we feel it. I mean, we're a couple days out, you know. I don't think we can get any more confident. You just got to work on the techniques every day, and as we go into scout peers and things like that, we got to hone into the details. That way we can be even more confident come Thursday.
I think it's going to be Alontae Taylor, Warren Burrell as your corners. Any kid, you agree?
I do, but I like the depth they have in that secondary. I really think Turnage and Haddon, and of course, you know, we forget about Kenneth George. He's played a lot. Also, there's some nice depth in that secondary, and that was a position I was worried about. Maybe not so much this year, but moving forward, there's depth at corner. You got guys at safety, because we were talking about safety last week. I was trying to remember who was your backups. We forgot about McDonald, who we've heard good things about him as well. I think I'm optimistic about this defense. I've been kind of bullish on that since we've kind of shifted toward this season. I think it's going to be a decent defense. I think there's talent. And again, I love what they did in the transfer portal. 2 players per level, and all of them should contribute. And I'm going to say it again. Jawan Mitchell is an upgrade from Henry To'oTo'o.
He's a dog, man. He's got that dog mentality. A lot of people said that Henry T was soft. You know, they said he was soft, and I think I've seen a lot of praise for Jawan Mitchell from the coaching staff, from his teammates. Alontae Taylor was praising him today, basically saying he's aggressive, man. And if you take him and Banks side by side, Banks has to get better. There's no doubt about it. Banks has to improve. He's got to get better. But I hope another offseason, another spring camp, another fall camp, he will improve as a linebacker. But they've got some dog in it. And I'm not comparing either one of those guys to Al Wilson, but that's the kind of guy you want. You want an Al Wilson, a guy that you want to be in the trenches with. And I don't think I think Henry T is a good football player. I don't think he's a dog.
Well, about Henry T real quick. When did he flourish? Who was beside of him when he flourished? Daniel Batuli.
Yeah.
End of story. When Daniel Batuli left, Henry T. Now, Henry T was a decent player, can't defend the slant, did other things. He lost too much weight last year. But Jawan Mitchell is a better linebacker than Henry To'oTo'o at this point. Now, I'm not saying long-term or anything. It's an instant upgrade. Do I still wish we had To'oTo'o? Absolutely. But, yeah, I think Mitchell is an upgrade. Banks has got to bring it. I think if he doesn't, I think there's guys there that's going to breathe down his neck and put him on the bench.
Here's the point I want to make. It is a very good situation to be in to have depth, especially when you look on the flip side of the ball, when the offense is trying to run as many plays as Josh Heupel wants to run. You're going to have guys that are fresh in the second half, in the fourth quarter. So you're really going to have to use some of these guys and rotate in on the front, defensive front, in the secondary. And, you know, you're going to have guys that can play 1 or maybe 2 spots at linebacker as well. And we've seen injuries happen. You know, we dealt with that on the line, both sides of the ball, the last couple of years, guys playing out of position. It's good to be able to be diversive and, you know, be able to play multiple spots. And I think we've got a lot of guys that are capable of doing that.
I saw today, too, somebody I think I was thumbing through the 24/7 message board. Somebody they'll bring up about the Doug Matthews show and how he's been able to watch the scrimmages too, and said he really talked highly about Mohan, the transfer from Michigan, about how he's not getting mentioned a lot, but he's evidently a pretty underrated player. So I'm curious to see if he factors in or not, because it seems like your top 4 linebackers are Mitchell, Banks, and then it seems like Garland and Page are your backups. And I wonder how long that lasts. I wonder if that's guys that they've been around, because I think Aaron Willis
and Beasley both.
I think Beasley, I think them missing the time they have that put them behind. But I wouldn't be surprised. And Cody brought up on here how long before Morvin Joseph. I can't see him sticking at middle linebacker long. Maybe he does, but I think Joseph, I think we'll see him back at end some this year. I really do.
Going back to what Dauber said, I just feel so much better about the depth across that entire defense. The defense had me so concerned, but the more and it's talk, I know it's just talk, but the more I hear players talk, the more I hear Tim Banks talk, the more I hear position coaches talk, hearing how much the defensive line has improved. And that goes back to the very beginning, a throwback to what Dauber said in the first 5 minutes of the show. Teaching, coaches that teach. Look what they have done with that defensive line. You know, Coach Garner has taken maybe the biggest concern on the entire football team and turned them into. I hope they can compete. I hope they can compete in the SEC, and we're going to find out. We're going to find out because the talk's over. The talk's over, guys. We're 9 days away, and they're going to have to prove something on the field, and that just sums up the entire offseason. We've done so many live streams, so many videos talking about the culture and the family atmosphere and all this stuff. None of it's going to matter in 9 days. When the bullets start flying and you're in the trenches, you're going to have to prove it. And that's when the story will play out. Let me get caught up on Super Chats here. Blitz 621 for 5. Thank you for the Super Chat. Says, looking forward to watching Hyatt. Sounded like Heupel talked about, using him in the slot, which doesn't really surprise me. But I have also heard that he is having trouble being physical at the line of scrimmage and getting off of press coverage. So we'll see. But he's a burner. I expect him to make plays. There's another wide receiver I want to talk about, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Joe Hall for 5. Thank you, Joe, for the Super Chat. Says, honestly, very interested in watching the D-line this season. Think they may help us more than most. Coach Hype offense will impress. And, the thing about the defense, too, it all starts up front, right? The secondary is only going to be better. We're talking about a secondary. As much as they struggled last year, they were a bright spot in 2019. They played well in 2019, and then they regressed last year. But how much of that Indy kid factors into the defensive line and the lack of pass rush that we saw?
It was a big deal last year. And 2019, the defensive line was pretty decent. They did good things. Tracy Rocker coached his hind end off that year. Last year, the coaching wasn't there. You've got arguably the best defensive line coach in the country. It has to get better. And that's something I want to see in that Bowling Green game. How many times have we seen openers where our lines have kind of, I won't say been manhandled, but they've definitely not gotten the better of these
We saw
ETSU teams.
We saw ETSU push around the defensive line.
Yeah, I don't want to see Bowling Green push around either one of our lines next Thursday. Now, I just don't. But I think there's some depth on the defensive line. I really do. There's some big guys, brought in some guys to help out. I think they're going to be a surprise. Again, I like all levels. I really like the coaches on that side of the ball. Tim Banks is probably honestly the biggest question mark just because it's not that I don't think he's a good defensive coordinator, but he's not called it in a while. So how does he coordinate? There's some good coaches, and I really feel those guys are going to progress as the season went along. And Heupel even made a comment the other day about progressing as the season went along. But, yeah, that's I think that line's – I do. I think they're going to help out, and I think they'll help that secondary out.
John Hill for 5 says, my biggest concern after all the additions to the portal is the offensive line. I'm concerned with depth. I like the starting 5. I do like the starting 5. And John London follows that up with 5. Thank you, John, for the Super Chat. Says, do you think the O-line has locked in its starters? And I do. And I like the starting 5. I think you've got a legit starting 5, and Dane Davis is going to be that 6th guy that can come in if he needs to. But Dauber, were you surprised that Josh Heupel didn't go and get an offensive lineman in the portal, or maybe there was no interest?
It definitely is a point of concern, mildly, just because we've dealt with, like I said a minute ago, guys playing out of position because just need. The loss of Calvert hurts.
Huge.
It definitely. I think he would have been plugged in there at starter. And
it's possible at right tackle. Yep.
It hurts the depth. It hurts. You're talking about a guy that had some experience, but looking across the board there, I think you go Wright, Carvin, Mays, Spraggins,
right, Cade Mays.
Cade Mays, and then like you said, Boogie, I think Dane Davis is kind of your utility that you can kind of plug in and out of a couple different spots.
The thing about Calvert is you mentioned him playing right tackle. That means you can move Cade into right guard, and Cade Mays is a right guard. That's where Cade Mays will make a paycheck in the NFL is playing guard.
Yeah, but I don't know that you can throw anybody else out there at tackle right now.
No, you got to use him for his versatility, and then God forbid injury. Somebody's going to get banged up. And then if you need to bring Dane Davis in to play tackle, then maybe you move Cade in to guard at that point. But that's the thing. Somebody's going to get nicked up. Somebody's going to get banged up. It's going to happen. It's the SEC. It happens. Mason Monroe for 10. That's a big time super chat. Thank you, Mason. We appreciate it. It says trial by fire for head coach, I guess. Josh, a dominant win is a must. If he does it with what he has to work with, then he will be a bigger legend than Coach Nealand. Prediction, Scott Frost will be here. Well, I don't see that happening.
No, he's not exactly lighting it up at Nebraska. So
isn't he on probation too, or getting in trouble with the NCAA right now?
Yeah, I believe he's getting ready to.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't see it. Tech Shop Talk says, somebody please smash that thumbs up. Yeah, I got to stop the show every now and then. Beg somebody to hit that thumbs up. Got 246 people watching live right now, 135 thumbs up. Let's get it to 150. Help me out. If all 247 people watching right now hit the like button, then I will shut up about it and we won't talk about it again. But if you don't, I'll probably bring it back up. Somebody just hit the thumbs down. So now I got to argue even more to try to balance that person that's so upset that I'm talking about the like button. They're so mad. They're getting a free hour and a half worth of content. They're so upset that they had to hit thumbs down. Oh, they took it back. So my speech worked. Just smash the thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel, all that good stuff. Are we caught up here? Let's see where we're at with super chats. Yes, we are caught up with super chats. Let me go back to the old bank here and find another question from this is in the Talkin VAWLS private group on Facebook. If you want to join, just search Talkin VAWLS under groups on Facebook. It'll pop right up. Look, and I want to say this. I know only a handful of our subscribers are listening, but here's the deal. I got a wife. I got kids. The Indy kid's got a wife. Dauber's, we all have families. We all have real lives. We don't accept friend requests on Facebook from people we've never met, or Instagram or Twitter. Well, you can follow us on Twitter. That's fine. Some things are separate from Talkin VAWLS. We like to keep private, personal lives. So the reason we set up the Facebook group is so that we could interact with you guys. We could get in there. You could ask us questions. We could talk back and forth. It's good fun. So join the Facebook group, and please don't take it personal if a friend request doesn't get accepted. I had to say that. It is what it is. I hope you guys understand that we do have families and private lives, personal lives, and all that stuff. But this is a good question from Josh Salyer. He says, recent subscriber to the YouTube channel. Love the content. Love the channel. My question is this. Do you guys think there will be disappointment if we aren't 3-0 coming into that Florida game? I personally don't know a lot about Pitt, and I'm certainly not looking past Bowling Green, but I think 3-0 would be huge for this program. We've talked about it over and over and over and over and over again, how important that Pitt game is. Dauber, would there be disappointment if Tennessee wasn't 3-0 going into Florida?
Mildly. Just because that Pitt game is one of those that we called it kind of a toss-up game. I think if you come out and you look like garbage in the Pitt game, then yeah, it's, here we go again. But if you come out and you compete, and especially moving from week 1 to week 2, if you see improvement, because that's what everybody says, that's the most improvement you'll see is between game 1 and game 2. But yeah, you talk about going to Gainesville with Big Mo on your side. That's huge. First conference game, first road game, big time. Every little bit helps. And it's tough to go on the road, period, in college football, let alone go on the road in the SEC. I think that
it's a great comment. Sorry.
I think mildly disappointment if we drop the Pitt game, or very disappointed if we drop either of the other two prior to
the
Florida
expectation
game.
is to be 3-0, right?
Yeah,
That's the expectation.
Absolutely.
So I think there would be some disappointment there. I'm glad to see my good buddy G Watt 713 in the chat. I hope he heard the quarterback conversation earlier. What about you? Any kid disappointment if they're not 3-0 going into Florida? And if they are 3-0, let me throw some more gasoline on the fire for the Indy kid. If they're 3-0, big wins. Let's say they blow out Bowling Green. Let's say they take care of Pitt and there's really no questions asked. Talking about a Florida team that's lost some talent. You're gonna have that fire in your eyes.
Oh man, it is always there for Florida. I mean, that's kind of, you talk about Georgia's your game. JP, when he's on Alabama's his game. Florida's mine. That's it doesn't take much to get my blood boiling. I'll be stoked. I mean, how many times over the years of these streaks have I believed it was happening? It was going to happen this year. Fourth only happened once. So if we're going in 3-0 after 3 dominant performances, yeah, I'm probably on here saying it's going to happen. But, I mean, it's still a case I've got to see it to believe it. But kind of back to your original, I think they're not 3-0. Yeah, I'm going to be disappointed, and that's no disrespect toward Pitt at all. I think Pitt and Tennessee is going to be fairly even. As far as initial rankings, they're pretty close. But I don't know. All I need to know about Pitt so far, I just think I've said it from the get-go. If you're going to set that tone, if you're going to get people to start buying in, you need to beat Pitt in that game too, because each of our coaches that have came in over the last so many years, there's always that early game that they have a chance, and they've not taken advantage of it. I think if you're going to set that tone, because my fear is you lose that game, the pitchforks are coming out in game 2, whether it's justified or not, and it won't be justified. But, gosh, I really don't want to see that after 2 games.
There are people out there that want Josh Heupel to lose to Pitt just so they can say, I told you so. There are. It is what it is. But if they lose to Pitt, and I know it's a toss-up game, but Tennessee has more talent than Pitt, period. They do. I truly believe that. They should win that game.
And going back to what we talked about last week, it's one of those toss-up games, but it's in Knoxville. And I think that gives Tennessee a bit of an edge. The first 3 games in Knoxville are good. But you drop one of those games, it's going to be tough to go on the road. Because of the doubts, because of the naysayers, because of the negativity that will just get like gasoline on a fire, just explode. So,
like you said, you're gonna lose that momentum. You're gonna lose that momentum. Evan counts for $50. What's wrong with you people? We appreciate it, Evan. Super fan. So somebody on Twitter, I don't know how I found them. They retweeted something, whatever. They followed us. They had Talkin VAWLS super fan in their bio. Nice. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. So does $50. Evan, thank you for the generous super chat. We appreciate it. Says upset in the swamp. You want to talk about a YouTube channel that's sunshine and rainbows? Sunshine and rainbows. This channel will be out of control if Joe Milton throws for 400 yards and beats Florida in the swamp.
I don't care who throws for 400 as long as they go win the swamp.
It'll be Joe Milton. It's going to be Joe Milton. Come on, Indy kid.
Let's say 300 with 150 on the ground.
There you go.
Oh.
There you go. I like it.
Joe Milton bulldozes somebody as time expires to win 35-31.
I'll take
34-31.
You heard it here first. John Hill for 5. Thank you. John says, any day is a great day to be a Gator hater for me. Have to beat the Dogs and play close against Nick Satan. Yeah, you you got to get better every week. You got to win the games you're supposed to win, and you got to be competitive. And that's what we've not seen for a long time. Doing the fall of the Vols was therapeutic. And we talked about the Butch Jones era, and Butch Jones was really the only coach that played those teams close. He beat some of those teams. So yeah, you just got to get better every week at this point. We got to realize where we're at. JD Johnson, 1906 for 20. That's a big time super chat. Thank you for that, JD. Says, Go Big Orange, love your channel. Tempered expectations for this year. Super excited just to see them play. I try to keep it tempered. I do. It's like we talked about at the beginning of the show. You get a new coach. There's this fire. You're excited. You want to see the team. As out of control as I get sometimes, 6 wins. I still say 6 wins. 6 wins a good season. 6 wins a good season. Now they roll into the swamp 3-0 and they beat Florida. I'm going to get out of control. We're undefeated. Feels like 98. Dante Siegler for $2. Thank you for the super chat. He just walked up and says, here's a $2 bill, and slapped it on the table and walked away. What else we got? Am I caught up? Yes. We are caught up on super chats. Let's see here. You want to go back to another question? Let's go back to another question. Keith Lester says over under on interceptions this season. Well, Keith, you're supposed to give us a number when you do an over under. He says, I think Willie Martinez is one of the most underrated defensive back coaches in the country. Any kid, I know you're a Willie Martinez fan, so I'll let you kind of kick this one off. He didn't give us a number for over under. What do you think? I've got it pulled up here, last year's stats. This team only had 5 interceptions in 10 games, and 3 of those came from players that are no longer a part of this team. So what do you think for interceptions? I think if this defense is going to have success, they're going to have to force turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, if it's over under from last year, yeah, they're over on that. They'll have more than 5. And again, I'm excited about this secondary to see what they bring. I want to see Turnage and Haddon. I just like their whole overall build. And I know they're probably not going to start, but just their size, their speed.
Let me cut you off and let you continue to build on what your thought process there. Do you think that Turnage is not going to start because he came in after spring camp? Because Alontae Taylor kind of talked about him today and said that he's asking a lot of questions, which is good, right? He's asking a lot of questions, but it seems like he's trying to grasp what they're trying to do.
Like
whereas the rest of the guys
playing catch up.
Yeah, where the rest of the guys went through the spring. Not to throw you off topic there, but
no, that's a good question, and it may just be a case of playing catch up. But from everything we've heard, Taylor and Burrell have been really solid. So I don't think it's anything he's done wrong or anything. Maybe it's just a case of these other 2 guys if it's not broke, you don't fix it. And he can provide that depth. Maybe he can, if somebody goes out. I mean, he's a second year college? Is that right? Redshirt freshman? Am I right on that? I can't remember if it's his second or third year. Yeah.
I can't remember either.
But, I mean, I think with both guys, there's a little bit of a learning curve with him and Haddon. But, again, it's a veteran secondary. You've got guys who've played a lot of football. So I think it's probably a combination of things.
I'm trying to look it up here to see what Turnage. Yes, he was a redshirt freshman last year, so technically a redshirt sophomore.
Okay,
but it's the roster's so weird because you got that COVID year, but that COVID year is really not going to pop up until they're seniors, right? And then if they want to come back for another year, they can.
Yeah, and that's so weird, like you said, because they don't have a designation for that.
No, there's like Harrison Bailey's still a sophomore.
Right. That's how it should be stated, but
it's weird to keep everything straight. He's
a sophomore, but he has 4 years left?
Yeah. But then technically he could redshirt too, so that could add another year. So that's where it gets weird. Paul Fry for 10. He says, here's a $10 bill. I'm out I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to slap $10 on the table and walk. John London for 5. Thank you, John. Says Bailey comes in later this season and takes over just like the 3 guys ahead of him on the Georgia high school passing list. Yeah, let's talk about high school quarterbacks. I love it. If Harrison Bailey takes over later in the season, like what are you talking about by later? You talking about game 7, game 8? Tennessee's in trouble. That's what we have to realize when we have these conversations. And we talk about Harrison Bailey taking over later in the season. That means Joe Milton sucks. And we are in trouble.
It could be injury due to injury.
I don't think that's what John means. I'm just
throwing it out there. I'm playing a little devil's advocate here.
I think whoever Josh Heupel names the starter, as a fan base, we want to see that person succeed. If Harrison Bailey comes in, if Hendon Hooker comes in, if Harrison Bailey's named the starter and Joe Milton plays in week 5, this team is in trouble. They've lost 2 games, probably one they shouldn't have lost. Right? I'm not crazy. You got to ride or die with a guy, man.
I'm like you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You want him to succeed. You don't want it to be a case of, well, if he struggles for a quarter, we'll make the change. Nope. You want this guy raw, unless it's injury. Otherwise, my hope is not if, but when Joe Milton gets named the starter, is that he stays the starter the whole year. Because that means, I would think, that would mean he's been playing some pretty good football. Now, we know that's not always the case in Knoxville, as we've witnessed the last few years, but I think it will be the case now.
Yeah, that was a good point that I just put up on the screen there from Mike Vall, 95. Harrison Bailey didn't start under 2 different coaching staffs. Is that a coincidence? Like you have to take that into consideration. Not to rant on it, but it's the truth. You have to look at that. Like you can say, well, Jeremy Pruitt had a thing for Jarrett Garantano, whatever it is, what it is. But when an entire new coaching staff comes in, a quarterback guru, a guy that Heisman runner-up, national championship winner, Josh Heupel, if anybody knows how to play quarterback in college, it's him. Dauber. It's not a coincidence that 2 different coaching staffs didn't start Harrison Bailey.
I've said all along, there was concern when this staff looked to the transfer portal before spring practice. Joe Milton came to the orange and white game and sat in the stands and watched it. And then decided
he was going to be the starter then.
And then decided, yes, I'm going to come here. So it's just, and all 3 of us will say, we don't care who it is under center.
I'm for Joe Milton at this point. I'm going to be honest. I've totally shifted.
I think everybody knows who I'm for. They've been yelling
at this point. I want to see Joe Milton get in and kill it. And it goes back to the point. It's no coincidence with Bailey. Why do you go get another quarterback if you think Bailey may develop into it this year?
But here's the thing. The 3 of us, we're not making the call. Right?
Oh, I made the call.
Josh Heupel made the call.
Yep.
To me. He said, Boogie, I saw your videos. I'm rolling with Milton.
But what I'm saying is, if Joe Milton doesn't trot out there first, are you going to be disappointed and quit watching?
No. If it's Harrison Bailey, I will be the biggest Harrison Bailey fan on the planet. Let's go.
Exactly.
All 3 of us will be.
And that's what I'm saying too.
It ain't going to be.
I think it's Joe Milton based on that's everything you're seeing coming out. Nobody's saying anything except for some of these, former players that have been to practice. But like even the Tennessee marketing, all the videos and stuff they're putting out, all these things, the clips, the hype videos, most of the plays you see are from Joe Milton. Then you see Hooker. I mean, I think Bailey, you've seen him 2 or 3 times on some highlight videos. So, unless they're just like doing a amazing job of keeping everything under wraps and but I don't think it is. I think it is going to be Milton. I think you do see two guys play a good bit of the game against Bowling Green, though.
You think it's
it's got to happen if it's a blowout. That's the only way.
It better be. If it's not a blowout, that's another problem.
Yeah, it's bad news.
Well, and that's the thing. One of the things that concerns me about this offense, I think they'll score points, but if they don't get clicking and they're wanting to run fast, if they're 3 and out and punt, you know, that spells bad news for the defense. Although, to the point I made earlier, you do have that depth. You do have people getting put in on defense. Like Indy Kid said, we added 2 on each level from the portal. I think the depth was addressed because of the potential for the defense being on the field long periods of time.
Well, and they needed it.
Yeah,
I mean, those 6 guys raised the quality of that defense by a lot. I mean, they were desperately needed. And I don't know. I mean, again, you know, Milton, and by all the report, 24/7 report, I'm sure it's the same with VolQuest. When they have got to watch practice, who's been taking first team reps? It's been Joe Milton, and then 2A, 2Bs, Bailey and Hooker. It's not a secret. It's the worst kept secret in Knoxville right now.
Well, the problem is you let guys like Jason Swain and Eric Ainge, VFLs, they have full access to practice, right? It's closed to the media. You give those guys access, and then they go on their radio shows and they talk about it. Eric Ainge, you think I love Joe Milton? Eric Ainge is in the bed beside Joe Milton. Like, he loves him some Joe Milton. And Swain's been saying it as long as I had. Like, Swain said it the second they went out and got him. Swain's been on the Joe Milton hype train. Like, they got him for a reason.
Go out and get him to hold a clipboard.
No. Like Robert said, he sat in the stands at the orange and white game knowing he was going to be the starter. Not that it was guaranteed, but hey, you got a good shot to come here and start.
Well, I mean, I think it was shocking when we heard they were going to the portal when there were 4 guys on campus, because we were like, man,
it was eye-opening.
It was very eye-opening. And I think Swain's the one that first talked about it. And then I think maybe VolQuest talked about it too, if I'm not mistaken. But once you saw Joe Milton was coming, the writing was on the wall.
Well, he also fits the system.
Hendon Hooker fits the system.
Right, but
Harrison Bailey can fit the system.
Milton does better. Well, that's the thing. When they ask Heupel, he'll use any quarterback, but the ability to stretch the field, the way they spread guys out, Milton's arm allows them to stretch the field, which in turn opens the run game, man. When you break down the film, that's what it is. Spread them out wide, stretch the field vertically, make them commit to stopping the run. This football team is going to run the football. If you don't realize that, you're crazy. I think we're going to see a healthy dose of run game against Bowling Green.
And then he can throw it 70, 80 yards.
Wait, what'd you say?
He can throw it 70, 80 yards.
Joe's always moving around. The first couple of practices during scramble drill, we'll kind of stop because we're so far down the field. But Joe's like, hey, man, I can throw it. I can launch it 70, 80 yards. You're good. So that's just something I kind of had to get used to. So, yeah, he can definitely throw it 70, 80 yards.
70, 80 yards. Let me get caught up on these super chats. Alpha C. Selber for $1.99 says, what if we land Walter? That will be a high-rated recruit.
Big time.
I've seen people mention that about he announced Tennessee in his top 3. I thought he'd already announced his top 3 with Tennessee. And it seems like now that it changed from Florida to Georgia based on the comments.
He's a drama queen.
I already thought he had a top 3, so I didn't think it was that earth-shattering. Not to take away from it by any means, but
it's wherever he goes last is who he's in on. And
Yes.
this thing's going to go until the pen hits paper. We're not going to know. And it would be huge. It would be huge. I wish he would commit to Tennessee and truly be committed, because I think he would help in recruiting other players. You get the number one player in the country, all of a sudden, some other D linemen are going to be interested.
Yeah,
Drew,
I saw where Nichols was working on somebody. Can't remember. It was another defensive lineman as well. So.
Drew Truesdale for 5. Thank you, Drew. We appreciate it. Says, I had dinner with Heupel last night in a secret room at Calhoun's with Peyton. Starting quarterback is going to be Milton. I tried to tell you guys. Tried to tell you. There's your confirmation. You heard it here first. Evan Counts for 5. Thank you. Evan says, any news on Caden Curry? The last I saw was he eliminated Tennessee, but that goes back to the Walter Nolan thing. Like, if Walter Nolan commits and then Rodney Garner calls up Caden Curry and says, listen, your best friend's going to be playing quarterback here. We have the number one defensive lineman, the number one player in the country coming. Do you want to come play beside him? Because our defensive line will be dominant. You want to get to the league? I can get you there. Don't you think Caden Curry would maybe listen at that point?
A lot of it.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to say I maintain a lot of it with recruiting. It's going to come down to it's time to start winning some ball games.
Yeah.
Yep.
But what I was going to say is I don't know that there's too many other people that would be worth listening to as a position coach than Garner.
Yeah. And again, you got the best defensive line coach in the country, proven record since how many guys to the league? Walter Nolan's said it on, in interviews about his track record and the guys that he's put in the league. And then the number one defensive lineman is coming to Tennessee. Like, I wouldn't mind playing beside him. Maybe that's just me.
The best brings the best.
And his best friend plays quarterback there. That's a factor too, man. That is a huge factor too. Look, I think we're getting ready to wrap this thing up. We do have almost 300 people watching live and 191 thumbs up. If you like the channel, if you like the content, just hit that thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate it. But I think we're about to wrap this one up. Just a reminder, we will be live again next Tuesday. We're going live every single Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, but also Saturdays immediately following the games. We're 9 days away. Next Thursday night, myself and Dauber will go live an hour before kickoff. Come hang out, grab a cold beer, sit down, hang out. You think this show's laid back? That pregame show is extremely laid back. We've got to do a fan call-in show for the members of the channel. A lot of members. We appreciate you guys. You're basically a guaranteed super chat. You're like, here is a guaranteed $1, $2 a month, whatever. You get access to custom Talking Balls emojis. We got to do a fan call-in show. Probably should have done it tonight to debate the quarterback situation, but it is what it is. We're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to get out of here.
And let's roll to game week.
It's time. They're transitioning.
And it is
transitioning to game week. I'm so excited. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. This is the Talking Balls Network. He's Dauber. He's the Indy Kid. My name is Boogie Bentley. The last thing I have to say to you guys is go Big Orange.